Okay, so what we're going to do today, class, is we're going to go ahead and work on steps for solving polynomial and rational inequalities algebraically. Now, as you've seen, you've got the handout in front of you, which is page 236 or 237 in the handout. Okay, so what we want to really do now is we want to review really quick the steps. And if we do these steps, and again, I want you to make a mandatory flashcard on these steps. So if you need flashcard material, you know it's on your desks. You could grab one or use what's convenient. Step 1, write the inequality so the polynomial or rational expression is on the left side and 0 is on the right side in one of the following forms. They're listed there. 2, determine the numbers at which the expression f on the left side equals 0. Now, if we're going to have a function that is a quadratic, wouldn't that be easy to use the quadratic formula? Wouldn't it be easy to put it in 0 factored form? If you have other functions that are harder, you're going to have other ways to do it. But the key is, what's our most favorite way of putting expressions in? What form? Everybody? We should know that by now, right? What's my favorite form to use? Okay, 0. No, it's not point slope. It's 0 factored form. I want 0 factored form. Why? Because if I've got 0 on one side, I want my expression to be in ZFF. That makes it easier. Okay, then we're going to use numbers found in step 2. We're going to call those key values. And we're going to do some problems now. We're going to walk through every one of these steps. We're going to find what are called key values, and we're going to separate our real number line into intervals. Next, we're going to select the test value or number in each of the intervals, and then we're going to evaluate what's going on compared to the inequality. Okay, so let's go ahead and start a problem. Now I'm going to use the handout. I need one of those handouts really quick. Okay, so I'll tell you what, get one of these back to Seth. He could share right now with Mr. Kondrat for starters. Okay. Okay, we're going to evaluate the first easy one. We're going to do number 1. So you can see now that we're going to use the expression x minus 5. Okay, so let's see if I could figure out where I'm at. Okay, so I need to go into pen mode. Okay, and we're going to do x minus 5. Okay, and that's a quantity, and we're doing it what? Times x plus 2. And we're evaluating that when that expression is less than 0. Okay. Now, let's make sure on our setup, we're going to go ahead and have, now I'm going to look at the screen here, so I won't be looking at you because you can look at the screen there. Would it be easier if we turned the lights out? I think so. Jade, would you please turn the lights out real quick? And now the whole world, if they watch this video, will know that Jade is in a classroom of mine. Okay, you live in infamy, Jade. Okay, so right now I'm going to go ahead and take my class notes on the right, and then I'm going to go ahead and build my number line on the left. Okay, so let's set up our problem here. And there's my number line. So the first thing I want to do is find key values. Okay, so I'll put key values. And for this, my key values are factors on the left side that are 0. And we find my key values are going to be when x is 5 and when x is negative 2. Now I'm going to take and identify those key values on my number line. And I'm going to work the number line, and I'm going to identify my key value at negative 2 and at 5. Okay, the first thing I want to do is examine, is this a less than or equal to inequality? And it's not. So my zeros here are not going to be a solution. So I want to show that as a whole on my number line. Okay, so if this was a less than or equal to, then I would identify that as a dot on my number line. Is everybody clear on what I mean by that? Any questions? Okay, good. Let's continue. Okay, now I want to, what I call dribble marks. I want to dribble work zones under my key values as so. And now I'm going to develop what are called test intervals. Now my test intervals are going to be numbers that are between negative infinity and negative 2. You know by previous classroom work, my first test number I like to use is negative 10 if I can grab it. So I'm just going to use negative 10. Now I want to reiterate, it's not a number I have to use. You could have used negative 5 or any negative number to the left of negative 2. But let's be consistent, work as a team, and you'll find that as we then work further problems down the road, we'll just see how repetitious it is. I'll use 0 in the middle, and I'll use positive 10 on the right side. Okay, now is what I'm going to do is what's called sign analysis. So I call it sign analysis for short, SA. You'll see me sometimes put stuff for SA, sign analysis. Now what I really want you to do in the sign analysis portion is just group the factors. Okay, so I'm going to have a factor times a factor. So let's group those two factors. And I could group them all every time. I'm going to do this repetitive work now. So I could group what's there. And the grouping is based upon the original problem. It's factor times factor. Now why I'm going to do it this way is because I'm going to analyze the sign characteristics of that factor when I plug in my test value. So when I put negative 10 into the factor x minus 5, that gives me negative 15. But I only am really worried about the negative. It's a negative number. And then you notice if I put in a negative 10 plus 2, it's negative 8. It's a negative number. A negative times a negative is a positive. Everybody okay so far? Now we go back and we make a judgmental decision. Is a positive number less than 0? That's the problem I'm working on. Is a positive number less than 0? So it's no. No positive numbers are going to be less than 0. So therefore, those numbers from negative infinity to negative 2 will not be in my solution set. Now, I want to give you a clue. I know because of the multiplicity of my 0 factor, I'm expecting a sign change. So what happens is, if I plug in 0 to the first one, I still end up with a negative. I plug in 0 to the next one, and now that one went from, notice, negative to positive. That's going to force a change, because now, are negative numbers less than 0? The answer is yes, right? And in my class, when I say yes, I get really excited. I jump up and down. You notice I would have trouble jumping up and down right now because I would strangle myself to death because I've got a wire wrapped around my neck. Okay, so my computer either would dump on the floor or something like that. So I'm very careful now. I'm calm. I'm not going to jump up and down. Normally I do. I feel like I want to jump up and down, but I'm going to sit still. And what we're going to do when we sit still now is we're going to go to our number line and we're going to shade it. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could have a real nice big thick thing. I could do that, but over here I'm just going to scribble on it. Finally, plus 10 minus 5 is plus 5. Plus 10 plus 2 is plus 12. That's a positive. That's a no. Okay, so I want to, though, reiterate. Did you notice that the multiplicity of my 0 factor at 5 was an odd value? I got a sign change. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's annotate above our number line the solution. Okay, and we'll leave it right there for now. If you were asked to give a solution, so you would put the solution for this problem is the interval, then open interval, negative 2 to open interval 5. And that's how we would show our answer right there. That's what we would box. We would put down something relative to the solution to this inequality is. Got it? So why don't you do that on your notes? I'm only not doing it because I'm writing on the Mobi view, and it would be tougher. It would look like scribbling, right? So on the bottom, the solution to my inequality problem is, and then I would put open interval 2, comma, 5, open interval. Is that okay? Is everybody okay with that? Katie, do you have a problem? Because now the world's going to know I have a Katie in my class. Did you understand everything we went through? Is there everybody here with an affirmative answer? Is there anybody that has any questions before we move to the next problem? Okay, we good? Okay, let's record another one so that everybody can, let's just say somebody who's absent today, maybe they'd be just look at what we did in class today at the beginning. I might have to stop yelling in class, right? Because I don't want to yell and let the world know I yell, right? Tanya, right? Have I ever gotten a little like testy with the class at times and I want you guys to do good, right? Okay? So at least the world knows that I can do that, right? I'm not hiding that. But let's do another example. Okay, let's work down to a different one now. I want to drop down into looking at, let's do problem 13. Okay, let's do problem 13. So I'm going to do problem 13, and problem 13 reads 4x squared plus 9 is less than 6x. Okay, what's the first step it says have to do? Put 0 on a side, right? It doesn't say which side, but just make a decision. I always like to put 0 on the right side. So I'm going to write this as 4x squared minus 6x plus 9. I'm going to change this problem a little bit. Could I? I'm going to alter it. I'm going to make this less than or equal to, just so we get a little difference. And I'm going to put less than or equal to 0. So since we're working on this in problem, I can just do that a little different. Okay, what two factors of 36 combine to be negative 6? I don't know. Do you guys know? No, seriously, I don't know. What two, profact sum, 36. What two factors of 36 combine to be negative 6? Did we make like a hard problem here? Could I just use the quadratic formula? Could I do that? Could I do that? Okay. So what's the discriminant first? What's 6 squared minus 4ac? What's that number going to look like? Everybody? What's that? What's 6 squared minus 4ac? What is that number? Is this 16 times 9? Is that 8 times 18? Is that 4 times 36? Is that 2 times 72? Is that 144? What kind of number is 36 minus 144? It's a negative number, right? Is everybody okay? It's a negative number? What's the square root of a negative number? Do I have any zeros? Do I have any real zeros? So did I pick a number that said no solution? I hope it has no solution. Now, what would we do to check this? Well, let's do this right now. Let's get our calculators. And I'm really skeptical of no solution. So I want to see here. I got to go into the mouse mode. So let's go here. And is there a wabbit here? Here's a wabbit. Wabbit, come to life, wabbit. Wabbit, come on. Oh, it's slow. I'm going to have 10 wabbits show up at one time. What do wabbits do when you leave them in a room? They multiply, right? See what I tell you, okay? Oh, man. Oh, and this is kind of the fun part. Videos can be fun, right? Especially when you're live recording, because people say, is that what he talks about in class all the time? Well, let's try it out. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to y equals, and what is our equation now? What's on the left side? Well, what did we? Now I erased it. You're going to have to help me out because I don't have it anymore. If I go back into this mode, if I go back into that mode, I could. So if I touch this 7, nothing will happen. See, it's like dead. It's a dead 7. And I said press the any key. Well, I'm pressing the any key. There it is, any key. Oh, that's not the any key. This is the any key, but it's just writing over it. So okay. John, could I see your notes so I can copy this in the calculator when I go to it now? He's sleeping. He's yeah, okay. Andrew, thank you. I said Sean. I did. Okay, really, I'm going to do this one. Seth! That's why Seth! I kept it again. I did it again. I did it. Sorry, Seth. I did it again. Okay, I'm going to put in 4x. Everybody's doing this with me now. 4x squared minus 6x plus 9, right? And that's a graph, obviously, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this thing now, and I'm going to zoom it standard, and I'm going to graph it. And what we're looking for is any part of that graph ever on the is it ever how many times did I say ever? Does that graph ever go in the negative territory? Do you see why no solution was the correct answer? Okay, so let's do another one. That was a waste of time. Okay, why didn't we? Maybe it wasn't a waste of time, but it was good. Okay, so let's erase that. I think I should be going next page. Mr. Bogner saves this stuff, right? So you guys should be to master this because he does this all the time. I'm going to do problem number 47. Number 47 says 3x minus 5 over x plus 2. Is that x plus 2? Yeah, x plus 2. Is going to be what? Less than or equal to 2. Okay, we're going to go, I can't use last names because they could look at you on the internet and then they could come find you at your house like that, right? Okay, now everybody's got the procedure in front of you, right? Okay, so James, what is the thing I want to do first? Okay, put 2 on the left side, right? Okay, let's do that. 3x minus 5 over x plus 2 minus 2 is less than or equal to 0. Okay, now, Brandon, what is my favorite form? ZFF, zero factor form. Is that in ZFF? Huh? No, it's not in ZFF. Okay, to be in ZFF, it's got to have factor, maybe over factor. It's not in factor. It's factor over factor minus 2, right? So how are we going to put it in the form of one nice, beautiful fraction or rational function? We have to do what? We have to put in just a big fraction bar, right? Okay, what's the common denominator? Brandon, what's the common denominator? Good, x plus 2. Okay, we got that. Okay, since we're on video, everybody at Brandon's table could help Brandon when Brandon has to give a correct answer, okay? Got it? But you do it silently, so it's not like, so everybody kind of goes, hey, Brandon, hey, do it real quiet. Okay, so no, you're doing fine, Brandon. You're doing fine. But I know, isn't it amazing that we're all going to live in infamy now? This is going to be like, for classes in 17 years at Highland High School are going to say, who is Brandon? That's it. So, see, we're all anonymous, right? Okay, so first of all, here's how we do it. We first do it, just in case. I always like to zoop this like this, just to be consistent. And then we're going to go minus 2 times what? X plus 2, correct? And that, extend your, what's this thing called? It's called a fraction bar, but it's got a better name, vinculum. Okay, so everybody's going to say on the internet, they're going to be going up right now and finding their dictionaries saying, is he right? Is that called a vinculum? And the answer is yes. Okay, combine like terms in the numerator. Okay, what can we do this mentally? Okay, Brandon, how many x's do I have in the numerator? Okay, I'm giving you guys a couple seconds there. The group is determining if Brandon's going to give the right answer. Okay, Brandon, how many x's are in the numerator? How many? Brandon, group, 3x minus 2x. 3x minus 2x. We're distributing the negative 2. So there's 1x in the numerator. Okay, is everybody okay with that? Okay, come on. Okay, now 5 minus 2. What's the number in there? Plus what? What's 5 minus? You're distributing, right? Is that a minus 5? Oh, it's a minus 5. Oh, thank you. Okay, put that minus 5. Correct that. Okay, minus 5 minus 4 is what? Negative 9. So I'll continue it like that. Okay, so x plus 2 is downstairs. Boy, that's an icky x. You think I never learned how to write. Doesn't my writing on the board look a lot nicer? Everybody on 3, say your answer. 1, 2, 3. See the, oh, I heard some no's in there. Okay, I like it. I like it. Some disagreement. Discontinuity or discourse. Okay, equal. Is that now, Brandon, in my favorite form? What am I, okay, now let's go ahead. What do we do next? We put a number line in, right? Okay, what are my key values? Would you agree my key values are going to be a negative 2 and it's a positive 9? Okay, if I put in, okay, divide by negative 2. Can negative 2 ever be in my number set? It's not there because why? It's in the denominator, right? So we're going to see it's downstairs, so we have to identify that we can never try negative 2 anyway because it's a downstairs number. It's not in the set of my domain. So therefore, is 9, since 9's upstairs, does 9 minus negative 9, does 9 minus 9 give a 0? Yes. Is it equal to 0? Yes. So let's put a dot right now. Okay, why did we stop writing? There it is. Okay, there's big dot, big dot. Big clump of dot there. Okay, got it? Now, dribble. This is where saliva comes out of the side of your mouth. Okay, and then you dribble down your paper with saliva. Okay, that's what I like to say. Okay, now what are my TVs? My TV is negative 10. How about 0? And how about 10? Okay, what am I going to jupe for my sign analysis? Okay, what's am I juping? I'm juping jupe over jupe, right? Because I got a jupe over jupe. And I could put equal something. Okay, let's jupe. Jupe over jupe equals jupe over jupe equals. Okay, let's jupe in negative 10. What's the numerator become? Okay, somebody else at Brandon Travis. What is negative 10 minus 9? Now, I know you want to say negative 19, right? I just want a negative. It's a negative over a... Negative over a what? Okay, Travis, plug in negative 10 minus 2. It's a what? Negative. Negative over negative. And a negative over a negative is a positive. Travis, are positive numbers less than 0? No. So that is a no. Okay, we do not get excited. We just say no. Okay, what's the multiplicity of the negative 2 factor? It's what? Odd, right? We're going to expect the sign change. So, therefore, we still get 0 minus 9 is a negative. 0 plus 2 is a positive. A negative over a positive is a negative. Okay, Brittany, is a negative less than 0? Are negatives less than 0? They are, yes. And what do we do when we have yes? We get what? Very excited. We jump up and down 3 times. And what do we do then? We shade our number line. Because all the numbers between negative 2 and 9 would act the same way as 0. So therefore, they would all give us negative answers. Got it. Okay, what's this? Plus over plus? Okay, you should be able to figure that out. Plus. No. Okay, so on the right, we're going to write a sentence. The solution to my inequality is, okay, start it out that way. The solution to my inequality is, and then we're implying the set of numbers. And then what would we do to help? Open interval over our work and closed interval at 9, because 9 is included. 9 is included. So write your answer then as a sentence. The solution to my inequality is open interval, negative 2, comma, closed interval with a 9. Okay? Is that okay? You got it? Yes, no? Okay, I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to go back to the mouse mode. I'm going to say